Good afternoon. This is Melissa with the StockSwoosh.com and welcome. Today I thought I would do a market update. Very interesting market the last week, I'll tell you that. We came into a very deep support area this week, and this was deeper than I expected us to come in as to trigger in a buy setup. What am I looking at now as a bigger picture of the market? Let's look at two different things today. Let's look at the overall bigger picture, and let's also look at on a smaller time frame. So smaller time frame was today. Today the market power trended all day, all the way up to, I said noon. I thought we'd come in around lunchtime, and we did come in around lunchtime, and we did trigger then and do a 15-minute buy setup around 1:15, and then we didn't go anywhere then really over the high of the day. 68.22. Yeah, we held the high of the day here then into this period. But remember, we power trended all day. I mean, really, where did we expect to go today? We could have continued higher, but this is power trending straight on through the morning up, 2 hours straight, barely pulling back, pushing up again, retesting the high at the 2 o'clock reversal time. And we just don't have the energy to go, I think, anymore today. I mean, I think this is the day here. I think this is pretty much how the market is going to end here today. So the close of this bar over here was 68.11. Yeah, we got over that. Let me see where that 23 number is first. Hold on. Or we came up to today. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So you see, so we rallied up to this area of resistance today. Now, what the question remains is, where do we go from here? After this breakout bar happened, we could have done one or two things. We could have come into this support here, held and did a buy setup and carried through higher. Or we could have come in lower, and like we did, and now be triggering on the buy setup here to go higher. Just because we did not trigger on this buy setup here in this 2-day period doesn't mean we're not going to Monday to follow through higher. It doesn't mean we're not going to get over this 70.17. It doesn't mean we're not going to get over 70.58. It just means we came into a deeper area. Did I expect us to have this hard sell-off in 2 days? No. Does this mean the market's in a downtrend though? No. Look at the bigger picture of the market. To me, the market is still neutral / bullish, although it was starting to really turn on the nice bullish side when the breakout bar happened back here on the 11th, but then we came back down and we're retesting support again. A retest of support into here on the 200 pre-moving average doesn't mean we're going to change trend and all of a sudden turn into a downtrend. Why do I say that? Because this is not a top. I'm very good at reading candlesticks and charts overall, and this is not what a top looks like. This is not what a top looks like. But this was a little bit of a sign here now looking back that we couldn't get over this immediately that day, and we got within 2 pennies of it. Again, this is an area that we were going to pull back, okay, which was what I saw here this day. We did this on the 15th, which was Monday. I thought we were going to hold in here, though. Worst case scenario on the 50, but once we started to break here on this day on Thursday, I did say there was a possibility we could come all the way down here. I didn't think this would hold it. Once we broke over the under the low from Thursday, I didn't think we'd hold this area here, the 67.19. So we came all the way down here, which is an area of support. The market is just choppy and sloppy and has been since January. Since January, okay? All this time in here, we're sideways. All this time in here, we're sideways. Gapped up here on the 5th. Sideways, 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 booped above it a little bit, gap down, failed on a gap down, and rallied through and rallied up for 4 days, which was a huge rally for the market. Hadn't did it for a long time, and broke out over the base, which looks higher to me still despite this fall in here. Even though we retraced this back on top of itself, I'm aware of that, but we have held on support. Nothing that we did here in any type of gap, long or short, is making me change anything that I'm saying about the market trend overall. I think the market right now is neutral / bullish still, despite this come in here in these 2 days of red. The market has potential to go higher and break over the 70.50 area if it wants to trigger in a buy setup early next week and carry through. If the market does not carry through on this buy setup here into this deeper area of support and travel and move forward and higher next week, It's going to continue the sloppy choppiness and a neutral sideways trend for possibly another month, maybe all the way into the summer, and maybe then in the summer we decide which direction we're going. People are having a hard time having conviction going long because we haven't really gone anywhere. And yet, to go short in this doesn't make any sense at all. You'd be shorting a market that is neutral slash bullish. So you cannot do that. Why? Because picking tops and shorting into tops is not the way to trade and make money as a professional. I'd be very happy, actually, if the market would give me a gap and then I could say, there, boom, there we do it. What would the market have to do to give me a gap? Let me just see here. Well, the market could gap above 70.50, in which case we're clearly higher. That's what the market would have to do to make a clear gap direction, a bullish gap. And if the market wants to do a bearish gap to clarify it, I mean, I'd have to rate the gap. If we gap here, I'd have to rate it to confirm that this would rate high enough to be real. I'd feel a lot better if we gap down here or even lower. But this may be enough, actually, that if we gap down here and broke through everything that we traded at the whole year, that might be enough. I'd have to rate the actual market gap. If it did it, that might be enough to actually bring us down. But once again, we haven't done it. I'm just saying for ifs. I prefer to see direction in the formation of a gap. Otherwise, you have to look at what's going on in the chart. What's going on in the chart is the Qs have been rallying up. I know it's been choppy, but we've been in a neutral slash bullish trend. People can look at this and get confused and give themselves a headache all day long and try to buy and pick tops and bottoms and go ziggity zaggity backity forth. Just play the strategy you play. Do it as well as you can. I happen to trade gaps. They go without the market. They go with the market. They go on their own when they rate high, so I don't have to worry about this. However, I do like to look at the market. I do like to know what's going on in the overall picture. I do like to read each minuscule time frame on the day to see what the market's doing. It's a nice clean trade today, the way the market held on this 200 period moving average. And it'll be nice and clean if the market sets up as a buy setup Monday going forward and carrying through higher. But don't expect cleanliness from this trading in the market tomorrow, Monday, because we haven't gotten it for the last 3 months. So I really wouldn't expect it necessarily. So you have to look at what's going on in the overall picture and break it down on the day, specifically if you're a day trader. But an overall person who's investing money in the market, there's no reason to think we're coming in. There's no reason to think we're coming in just because we came down here. It was a deep pull and support, but there's no reason for panic. The market's really not doing anything wrong. It wanted to retest support, so fine, let it do it. Maybe this is what it needed to do a second time here before it carries off and lifts higher. Otherwise, if I'm going to say clear direction, go, 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 we have to gap over 70.50. Clear direction lower for the year, gap down. Possibly here, I'd have to rate it, but definitively here. Any gap down from here down is a real gap. And we'll just have to see where it goes. So if the market would just gap, then we'd know exactly what to do. Do you see why it's so easy to trade gaps? And then meanwhile, you have to read every single thing the market's doing every second of the day if you're playing the market. So much easier to trade gaps. My call on the market is we actually are going to hold here. We came in a lot this week. We came in more than I thought, but every time you think something's going to happen, then it flips and does the other thing anyways. So the reality is that people get all excited thinking that that was a top, then they better think again, because I don't see the way that's set up as a top. And that's really why my instinct says we're going to hold. Now, I thought we'd hold 2 days ago, but just because we didn't and came into a deeper support doesn't mean we're not going to hold next week. I do think the market is going to carry through this year. I do think the buy-in is going to come into it unless we gap down. I'm not looking at this trading that happened back in here on the 10th and 11th as a top because it's not. It's just not. And I want to see what the market does next week. I want to see if the market will do a buy setup next week and start to carry through here. We weren't that far away from this area the other day. And the other reason I also think that we're higher still is because this was a break of a base. The break of a base that blew up in a breakout bar will follow through. I wanted it and thought it would follow through quicker and faster than it did. It doesn't mean it's not going to, FYI, all right? So I think we do a buy setup Monday and we do a small trading day up into here or here, depending on where we got Monday morning. And then after that, we'll see if the market has it in it to actually carry through and rally higher. I know people are concerned. They're not sure what to think of this, but don't get too caught up in it. All right. This is sideways. This is sideways. This broke out. This is a pull into support. Don't think the market's going lower until it gaps. And right now we're holding this. I know we're not holding it as strong as some people would like, but don't be fooled in here. We're still holding. This came into support. It actually could have even come in even more if it wanted it to. It could have come into 66 really and still been okay. That's why I'd have to really rate a gap like this. I'm not even sure if a gap down here, if that would be enough. Let's look at this. So we'll have to see. The market's doing mini gaps, baby gaps, little mini gaps. The market hasn't done a big gap up or down for a while. You know, so we'll have to see what it's going to do next week. And I will keep on top of it and keep doing market reviews and keep watching it. This is Melissa with the StockSwoosh.com. If you're interested in more information on my live trading room where I look at the market and call the market each day and my gap trades, then reach out to me at Melissa at the StockSwoosh.com. Have a great week, everyone.